What I eat in a day to beat bloating. Hello, my honeys. If you're new here, my name is Healthy Emmie. I'm a nutritionist, a weight loss specialist, and the creator of Slim, the all-inclusive platform for mastering your ideal weight on a plant-based diet. I'll give you custom meal plans, custom workout plans, meditations, journals, everything you could ever need in order to succeed, plus access to me. I'll answer all your questions in a weekly Q&A. For more information about that, hit the link in the down bar. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on 3 different tactics that you can use to help alleviate bloating on a plant-based diet. I'm going to start out by focusing on the low FODMAP foods, and I'll explain that. Then I'm going to focus on foods that are a little bit lower in fiber and a little bit more refined, gently refined. And then I'm going to be focusing on what supplements, what teas, what other things you can do around what you're eating when the actual content of what you're eating isn't as much within your control. And we'll take a little visit to Healthy Parents' house for dinner too. Let's get into it. Starting out for breakfast, I'm going to make a low FODMAP carrot ginger soup. I know you're thinking, what, soup for breakfast? In Japan, they have soup for breakfast. This is such a warming, it's like a warm smoothie bowl. It's a warm food that's gonna help alleviate any inflammation in the digestive tract, help get the digestive tract turned on for the day in a very gentle way. It's like a nice, gentle, warm hug, but a warm little push to get things moving for the day. This is low FODMAP. What does low FODMAP mean? And before I talk about it, please don't think that a low FODMAP diet is a permanent solution. A low FODMAP approach is never supposed to be taken as something permanent. It's something that's going to help alleviate any intense digestive distress, always done under the guise of a healthcare professional, but it is usually a temporary tactic to help alleviate digestive distress. That being said, it can be very helpful if you struggle with bloating to have some low FODMAP meals here and there. So FODMAP stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And these are all types of carbohydrates that aren't so well absorbed in the small intestine. And for a lot of people, they can cause gastric distress. Again, it doesn't mean that foods high in FODMAPs are bad. In fact, a lot of very healthy foods are high in FODMAPs. But if you struggle with something like IBS, then having these foods can unfortunately aggravate that condition. So it is helpful to have some meals here and there, like this one, that are low FODMAP. So for the ingredients that I am using, I am actually going to use a pureed baby carrot food. And the reason why I'm using baby carrot food, and when I say baby carrot food, I don't mean baby carrots, I mean baby humans that eat this pureed carrot food, is because this is going to be as good as it gets when it's pureeing these carrots down to a liquid. If I were to cook the carrots myself and puree them, there probably would still be some chunks. It wouldn't be as smooth as it is when I buy it in the can. It just so happens to be that it is baby food, but all it is organic pureed carrots. When you look at the ingredients, it's carrots and it's water. So you find it in the baby food section, but that's just because they don't sell canned puree carrots anywhere else, and it's going to be an ingredient in the soup. Could you cook your own carrots and puree them? Absolutely. But if you do struggle with digestive distress, then choosing something that's already been pureed is going to be a great option because it helps break down the fiber so that your digestive system doesn't have to do as much work on the food. Think of it like the first order of business, the first member of the assembly line is the one that chops up all the food. That's usually what the mouth does. For many people, we eat too quickly and we can't get it down to a puree like you can in a blender with the food. So if you do have it blended beforehand, it's like that assembly worker is absolutely going to town so that the other assembly workers don't have to do as much work. So blending your foods is a beautiful option if you do struggle with bloating. Then for the creamy factor, I'm going to use silken tofu. This is in opposition to usually things are heavy cream, they're high fat bases, but the silken tofu is great because it's not a super high calorie, high fat, something that's very heavy and going to make your digestion sluggish. And all of this that I have to take care of. That's what the digestive system will say when so much comes in, so many calories, so much fat. It's a little bit lighter of an option, but it still does give you a little bit of protein that's going to help keep you satisfied and satiated so that you don't have to keep stuffing your stomach with food because you don't feel satisfied. So I'll throw in some silken tofu. I'm gonna use veggie broth as well to add some liquid and a little bit of flavor. And then I'm adding in ginger, and ginger is the superstar when it comes to anti-bloating. It helps soothe the digestive tract. It also helps increase gastric motility. So if you struggle with constipation, with things not really moving along, it's gonna help with that by not only relaxing the muscles in the digestive tract, but helping move everything along. It's also been used for centuries to alleviate nausea, and I know sometimes people feel a little bit nauseous in the morning when it comes to eating, so this is great to add in with your breakfast. And then we have turmeric. Not only will turmeric help us out with reducing gas and bloating by promoting a healthy gut environment, but it has also been shown to help with the production of bile in the stomach. So your stomach is gonna get a little bit of extra help with digesting all of the food that we put into it. Specifically fats. Bile is going to help with the digestion of fats. Then we're adding cinnamon, and cinnamon is a warming spice. Something that you'll hear very often in Chinese medicine is that we don't want to keep things cold. When we drink super ice cold water, for example, that's going to decrease the movement and the flow of the digestive tract. When we drink warm liquids and we use warming spices, this is why, if you go to a Chinese restaurant and you ask for warm water, it won't seem like the craziest thing in the world because they don't like to drink ice water. It's not good for the system. Nice warm water is gonna help with keeping everything nice and relaxed. When you get into a warm bath, what happens? All of your muscles relax. When you get into an ice bath, what happens? You get all tense. Same thing happens with your digestive system. So cinnamon is a warming spice that will help relax the muscles. As for supplements, every morning with my first meal, I do take my D3 and my B12. In fact, I'm going to take them right now because a deficiency in vitamin D can lead to a weakening of the immune system, which will lead to gut issues. So we'll pop this guy. Being low or deficient in either of these can lead to a weakened immune system, low energy, low mood, slowing of the metabolism. We don't want to risk this. These are the cleanest that you'll find. One active ingredient, no oil, no sugar, no GMOs, no gross stuff. Just the ingredient that is listed here. Only one active ingredient, D3, B12, no gunk. Because people take these gummies, for example, and they're candy. They're truly candy. You're eating sugar first thing in the morning. There's gelatin in it. It's not gonna be great on the digestive tract to have all of these unnecessary additives and sugar. So let's take some nice, clean, premium ones. So tactic number one, low FODMAP, out of the way. I also gave you a couple of other tips there of blending your food, using warming spices, and not shying away from having things that aren't traditionally breakfast foods, because it can be beneficial to look at all the properties of things that are warm and blended and easy on the stomach. And I would take that over having, well, I'm gonna have this because it's traditionally a breakfast food and it feels weird for me to have something else. Well, nothing changes if nothing changes. So I would invite you to use those tactics of the blended food, low FODMAP, and the warming spices, and the anti-inflammatory spices. Now let's get into the tactic that I'm going to use for lunch. For lunch, I'm gonna use the tactic of having something that's a little bit lower fiber, lower residue, and a little bit of refined foods. So it's no secret that a plant-based diet is naturally very high in fiber. This is because if you remember back to your 6th grade science class, animals have a bone structure that keeps them nice and standing tall, whereas plants don't have bones. Plants have fiber. This is why animal products don't have any fiber, because they have bones, and it's why plants don't have bones, because they have fiber. So a plant-based diet by default is gonna be super high in fiber. So if you want to eat a plant-based diet, but you're struggling with digestive distress, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because you're gonna be eating a lot of fiber. So I wanna share with you how we can choose some vegetables that are a little bit lower fiber and then choose some sources of carbohydrates that are a little bit more refined to help lower the amount of fiber that you're having so that it isn't as much of the digestive tract to handle. Another thing to keep in mind here is that I'm absolutely not going to be choosing vegetables that are cruciferous. Cruciferous vegetables are things like Brussels sprouts, bok choy, broccoli, cauliflower. These are going to be your enemy if you struggle with bloating. So I'm going to be choosing, for my carbohydrate source, I love these Atoria's lavash breads. You can get them at Whole Foods, you can get them online. I swear they brought them to Whole Foods because I talked about them so much, but that's just me thinking I'm more important than I actually am. Girl can dream. But these are awesome. They don't have added oil and they're a little bit more refined. Whereas if you are having something that is a completely whole grain, a wet starch, it might just be too much for your body to take on and do all of that processing itself. Whereas when we have something like a bread product that's been a little bit refined and blended and worked on, like I talked about earlier, it's less work on your stomach to do all on its own. And in some cases that can be appropriate. Then for the vegetables that I'm choosing, I'm going to be choosing mushrooms because these are a little bit lower in fiber. I'm going to be choosing bell peppers because these are a little bit lower in fiber. So for the mushrooms, all I do is I place them on Silpat, I spray them with some liquid aminos, and I bake them in the oven alongside tofu. I'm going to do some tofu as well. If you're looking for a legume source, beans usually are a little bit much on the system when you struggle with bloating. So I'm going to be turning to tofu. And I'm going to cut up the tofu, put it alongside my mushrooms, spray it with liquid aminos. In the oven it goes. 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. Keep an eye on it because the mushrooms might burn. Then for the bell peppers, I'm gonna chop them up and I put them into my vegetable steamer and I steam them for about 10 minutes. I like them really well steamed. Now I'm gonna add in some lettuce, and lettuce is something that it's really down to the individual, because if you do struggle with bloating, you want to make sure that you are cooking your vegetables. You don't want to have too many raw vegetables just because the raw vegetables are so high in water, they're so high in fiber, a lot on the stomach to handle itself. And when you cook the food, you do help break it down a bit so that it's easier for the stomach to digest. So when it comes to lettuce, you're of course not going to cook your romaine lettuce or cook your iceberg lettuce. So I would start out with just a little sprinkling of it and see how you do. And if you do well with it, awesome, continue to have it. But if you don't, know that it's because it's very high water, very high fiber, and we want to lean more toward the vegetables that have been cooked. And then for my dressing, I am using the lemon herb tahini dressing from Kava. I love this stuff. It's an oil-free dressing, and the lemon is going to help with balancing the acidity within your stomach. And if you struggle with something like acid reflux, this can be a really great addition. What's great about the lemon herb tahini dressing as well is it is a little touch of fat here, and that can help with satisfaction. Whereas if you're not including any fats at all or any higher protein sources at all, you might not feel satisfied, and then you'll eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And if you're overeating, you're gonna have digestive distress. Now, before we move on to dinner, I want to take a minute to talk about the importance of and the impact that meditation will have on your bloating. When you are running around all day long, you're in fight or flight. Blood is actually moving away from the digestive tract toward your arms and your legs because your body thinks that you're running from a predator, when really what's going on is you're stressed about the meeting that you have with the accountant at 2 o'clock. The body doesn't know the difference between running from a lion and the fact that you're late on a work project. The brain reads that as the same thing, digestion shuts down. So in order to get our body into the rest and digest state, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have a meditation practice. Within the Slim platform, I give you a new meditation every day so that you can take the guesswork out of trying to run your own meditation session. I'll start you out with a quote of the day. I'll tell you exactly what to meditate on. So we're gonna inhale certain things, we're gonna exhale certain things, and this is gonna move your body into the rest and digest state to prepare it for the eating process. So bonus points for you if in the Slim platform, you use the meditation for before eating. And if you're not already in the Slim platform, this is your sign to get into it, because not only will I give you meditation, but I'll take the guesswork and the stress out of a meal plan as well, because I'm gonna give you a customized meal plan so that you don't have to think about anything. You literally don't have to think about anything when you're in Slim. I tell you exactly what to eat, exactly how to work out. You get a customized workout plan based on your goals. I'll give you meditation. I'll tell you exactly what to journal on every day. I've got you covered. Now for the third meal of the day, I'm gonna be talking about the third tactic that I'm using, which is focusing on what can we do around the meal, what supplements can we use, what can we drink to help alleviate bloating when what we're eating is out of our control. So let me show you first what I'm actually going to be eating at Healthy Parents' house for dinner. Action.
So tonight we are featuring portobello mushroom sandies with grilled onions, and you can see the grilled onions. We just go with onions, and that was because when we first did them, we figured we needed something with them, and I had onions. So that's where we are. Now the portobello mushrooms, the last batch are cooking, and they're garnished with balsamic vinegar, ginger, and garlic powder. So those are done. Beautiful. And then when the last ones are done, we'll probably just reheat them a little bit and slice them up and put them on wraps or toasted rolls or whatever we're gonna do. And
where's Mom's bread? I just want to show Mom's bread.
Mom's bread. Mom's bread. Believe it or not, it's still here. But sweetheart, what is the ingredients?
Flour, yeast, salt, and water.
Flour, water, yeast, and salt. That's all you need.
And that might be an option for our dinner.
And Mom's hummus.
Yeah.
I'll have it with Mom's hummus. Okay, so when I'm in a situation like this, where what I'm eating isn't as much within my control, there are other things that I can do. First, I can focus on how I'm eating, because it's not just what you're eating, but it's also how you're eating. So I make sure that when I'm having dinner with my parents, I put the food down between bites, I chew to the consistency of applesauce before swallowing, and I really am present with my food. I'm not ferociously eating, I'm not so distracted, I'm present with the whole experience, I am calm, I am centered, I am grounded. So remember, it's not just what you eat, but it's how you eat it as well. And being with my parents makes me happy, it makes me relaxed, I feel at home, I feel at peace, which is crucial for alleviating bloating. In situations like these, there are also some products that I like to use. These are not, I'm not being forced to tell you about these. I am choosing to tell you about these because I find them to truly be very effective. The first time I tried something like this was actually at a wedding. And at a wedding, you're eating, you're up, you're dancing, you're in somewhat uncomfortable clothing, you're in heels. Like, if there's any time that you're gonna bloat, it's in a situation like that. And I tried this out and I had great digestion the whole time, and I was really excited about it, so I wanna share it with you. So first is what I chose to drink. I am using, and I will link these in the down bar, and I do have a discount link. So you can save money on this. If you want to, you absolutely do not have to. But I love using the Peak Spearmint Digestive Tea as well as the Peak La Ginger Tea. This is a warming spice. Remember, we talked about warming spices to help alleviate the digestive system with ginger, which is known to alleviate digestive distress. And then also spearmint. This one really, I love to have this after meals, and this is very high quality. The potency of it is unbelievable. This is another thing where it's like, you could make this yourself, but what I love about this company and Peak is they have such high standards for their process from the Department of Redundancy department, but the potency of these is so much higher than if you were to just buy ginger at the grocery store and buy cinnamon and buy peppermint and make it yourself. It's not going to be as effective as when you're using something that's as high quality. Another thing that I love to use are papaya capsules. So this is the best one that I've found because the only ingredient is papaya powder. So this is just, all it is papaya. And this is something that you can have after eating, it contains an enzyme called papain, and that enzyme helps with promoting good digestion. So this is a great option. I'll link these below as well. They're on my Amazon storefront, but you just take 2 of them after you eat, and that can help with bloating. So when you're not in control of what you're eating, there's other things that you can do, because remember, it's not just what you're eating, but it's how you're eating and how you're supporting what you're eating. So these are examples of things that we can use to help support the digestive process, and then actually eating the food slowly, slowing down, chewing your food to the consistency of applesauce can help with the process as well. Remember, it's never too late to start your health journey, and it's never too late to join Slim. So today's your day. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So let's have you join Slim, and I'll see you in there. And if you like this video, you're gonna love the next one that pops up on the screen. It's an anti-inflammatory full day of eating, which is very much aligned with alleviating digestive distress. And if you made it to this point of the video, comment papaya, P-A-P-A-Y-A, and I'll know that you're a true homie. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.